serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is The Man Who Ate the Town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 26 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of February 27th through March 5th, 2017. My name is Tim Beeman, and we are opening the recipe box. I'm recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town at Test Pattern Studios. Test Pattern Studios is located at 701 North Trade Street in Historic Arts District of downtown Winston-Salem. Check out their Facebook page for their full calendar of events. Facebook.com/testpatternbar. I'll have a special guest with me today, Chef John Bobby, the executive chef of Roosters, a Noble Grill in Winston-Salem. We'll get to him in just a bit, but first, Skippy's Hot Dogs are almost ready to open in downtown. They've been doing some major renovations, including taking over the photography studio to the east of the restaurant. According to the Facebook post from owner Matt Whitley, the new owners are planning to keep most of the classic menu items as they were. I did see on WXII this morning that they're going to be adding a dog in honor of Mike Rothman, founder and former owner that has been suffering from brain cancer. I think that's pretty cool. I was part of the Mike's Week there last year, almost around this time, and I loved seeing the community come together for Mike, raising over $110,000. Crafted, the Art of the Taco, has announced that they will be open now on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Chef Chris had been taking Sundays and Mondays off there, but I think there was a need for some place to be for Sunday dining. Crafted fits that bill nicely. Opening at 11 a.m. gets that brunch crowd in there too, although because of stupid laws in this state, you can't sell alcohol until noon on Sundays. Also, Murphy's Lunch, which has been around for a long time in downtown Winston-Salem, now is open on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's been a weekday staple, but now they're going to open on Saturday mornings as well. I guess with people moving into downtown that there's a need for them outside of the business person's blue plate breakfast and lunch, and they are now opening Saturdays 8 to 2. Food holidays for this week. The 27th is National Kahlua Day and National Strawberry Day. I bet strawberries and Kahlua would be good together. 28th is National Chocolate Soufflé Day and International Pancake Day. The 1st is National Pig Day, National Horse Protection Day, National Peanut Butter Lovers Day, which would be me, and National Fruit Compote Day. On the 2nd of March, it's Fritter Thursday and National Banana Cream Pie Day. On the 3rd, it's National Mulled Wine Day and National Cold Cuts Day. On the 4th, it's National Pound Cake Day. The 5th is National Corn Dog Day, and it's always the first Saturday of the, wouldn't be Saturday, would it? Anyway, after the first Saturday of the collegiate basketball tournament, it's also Cheese Doodle Day and National Absinthe Day. Food history. The 27th of February in 1879, saccharin, the official sweetener, was discovered by Constantine Fahlberg and Ira Ramson at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. The FDA required warning labels from 1977 to 2000 on products using saccharin because it was a suspected carcinogen. After additional research, the FDA repealed the warning labels and declared saccharin safe for consumption. On the 27th in 1899, Charles Best was born. He was co-discoverer in 1921 of the hormone insulin. On the 27th, 1 year later, in 1900, Felix Hoffmann of the German Faberfabriken of Elderfeld Company was issued a U.S. patent for acetyl salicylic acid, soon to be marketed by Bayer as the familiar pain reliever aspirin. On the 27th in 1962, David Burke was born. He was a multiple award-winning American celebrity chef and restaurateur. On the 28th in 1956, Knott's Berry Farm trademark was registered for their syrups, jellies, jams, and fruit preserves, and so on. The name was actually first used in 1928. On the 28th in 2006, Chicago's oldest restaurant, the 107-year-old Berghoff restaurant, closed. The Berghoff reorganized and opened again 1 year later in 2007. On the 28th in 2009, reduced demand for butter and cheese and falling milk prices are forcing dairy farmers in the United States to sell hundreds of thousands of dairy cows to be slaughtered for meat. Estimates are more than 15% of the 9.3 million dairy cows may have been sold for meat back then. On the 1st of March 1784, E. Kinder opened the first cooking school in Great Britain. On the 1st in 1989, a 75-year ban on beer was lifted this day in Iceland. What were they thinking? They should have never had a ban. On the 1st in 1990, the British Royal Navy began issuing rum rations to sailors. As early as 1655, the Royal New Zealand Navy was the first navy in the world to end daily rum rations for sailors in 1990. So they ended the rum rations. On the 1st in 2002, McDonald's announced in a press release that it had agreed to pay $10 million to Hindu and vegetarian groups to settle lawsuits over its use of beef flavoring in its French fries. On the 2nd in 1787, William Bass died. He was the English brewer, founder of Bass Brewery in 1777 in Burton-on-Trent. Hands off to you. We wouldn't have the original Black and Tan if it weren't for Bass. But don't go to Ireland and ask for that, because they will tell you immediately it's a British thing, not their beloved Guinness. On the 2nd in 1865, John James McLaughlin was born. He was the Canadian chemist and pharmacist, founder of Canada Dry soft drinks. On the 2nd in 1984, Ray Kroc's first McDonald's franchise in Des Plaines, Illinois, closed. It had opened for business on April 15th, 1955. The 3rd of March, 1634, it's either the 3rd or 4th, Samuel Cole supposedly opened the first tavern in Boston, Massachusetts. On the 3rd, in 1879, Elmer McCullum was born. He was a chemist who discovered vitamins A, B, and D. On the 3rd, in 1971, Chef Tyler Florence was born. He's an American cookbook author and cooking show host. Makes him 46. On the 4th, in 1792, oranges were supposedly introduced to Hawaii. On the 4th, in 1938, John Gallardi was born, founder of Wiener Schnitzel, originally Der Wiener Schnitzel, hot dog fast food chain. On the 5th in 1910, Momofuku Ando was born in Taiwan. Mr. Ando was the founder of Nissin Food Products and invented instant ramen noodles. On the 5th in 1955, Ferdinand Point died. He was a well-known chef and restaurateur. His restaurant La Pyramide was considered by many to the greatest in the world. Paul Bocuse, Louis Othier, Alain Chapelle, and Jean and Pierre Toigua all trained under Point, and he is considered to be the father of modern French cuisine. On the 5th of 1990, 8 Canadian flour mills are charged with rigging prices for food aid, amounting to $500 million over 12 years. That's your food history and food holidays. All right, well, I am very pleased to have in the studio with me someone I call my friend, a local chef, one of the top people around town that do what they do, and he is the executive chef, right?
Yes, sir.
Of Roosters, a Noble Grill, what used to be known as Noble's Grill. So, Mr. John Bobby, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
So glad that you're here with me. Yeah. Only my second guest, which is pretty cool. And I think I kind of threw you under the bus here because you didn't expect this. You were coming to just see me about something else, and I said, "Hey, won't you sit down and talk with me for a minute?"
Yeah.
But we were discussing before I hit record on here the name change.
Yeah.
And I asked, was it just to be under the the company head a little bit better, in solidarity with all the names being one thing, and you pretty much said, that was...
Yeah, I mean, Noble's, that's what we're celebrating in March coming up. Noble's been around for 25 years, which is rare for a restaurant to be open that long. I mean, only the ones that have, great grounds and great food and great service really have that longevity. And that's where, we're celebrating this year is, 25 years.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for 5.
5, all right.
Yeah.
So you were there before the
change. Yeah. It's been a tough transition. Anything that changes in Winston-Salem, there's usually an uproar about it, and is to be understood. When something's good, why change it? But it's always changed for the better. Noble's always had a grasp on what's new and what's good, and what's going to be great for his company, and him putting an umbrella on us and grouping us with the other Roosters locations is really just going to bring us together better as a company. And I was telling you that I went to go get ski boots the other day to go skiing up at Snowshoe, and I walked in and the kid's like, "Hey, when did you guys change to a chain restaurant?" And I'm like, well, we didn't. We have that big misconception that we have been bought out or we have changed owners or something like that, but we haven't at all. It's still the same great food, same great service that's always been associated with Noble's food. So we've learned that through this rebranding here, that it says Roosters at the top, but we're really focusing on a Noble Grill because we've been with Winston-Salem for so long as Noble's Grill. Yeah. We want to keep that memory in people's mind that that was a place that they went for really great food and great service.
So it's kind of like a marriage, really, of old and new. Keeping the spirit, if you will, of the Noble's Grill part, because that's what the city knows, and adopting the Roosters moniker to show that progress and moving forward and bringing everything into one spot, a brand.
Yeah. Everybody associated Noble's Grill with that special occasion. That once, if you went out to eat one time a year as a family or something, you went out and you went to Noble's Grill and you had the great dining experience. So we're trying to do that great dining experience, but come out more than just one time a year. Come out more than twice a year. Don't make it just your special occasion restaurant. Make it something you can eat our really nice handmade pastas 3 times a week, or our locally sourced ingredients as many times as you can. And it's become to where we're not trying to hit that higher price point anymore. We're dropping our price point on a lot of our items so that we get everybody to have that experience of really great food.
It's more accessible to more people.
Yeah, exactly.
And not just, is it still considered fine dining, or is it just upscale casual?
Exactly, upscale casual, I guess. It's however you want to. No longer white tablecloths. Because Noble's Grill used to be tuxedos, white tablecloths. It was very upscale restaurant. Yeah. And then over the past, 15 years, the whole reason Noble opened Noble's Grill was to sort of take a step back from that fine dining experience. And when he tried to open Noble's Grill, the first time, it became to where, people were like, oh, where's the fine dining of Noble? So he sort of went back to white tablecloths and then sort of took all that away slowly. And, all the people that have come in for so many years feel comfortable and not really see the change. But then people that have never been at Roosters really come into a new experience that they haven't had in Winston-Salem.
I know a while back, and I can certainly dress up. I have no problem with that, but I'm not one to do it often, just because I like comfort. Not that you can't be comfortable and dressed up, but usually you're not. But I'd always felt, at least 10 years ago or so, that I was underdressed no matter how well I was dressed,
Yeah.
to go in there. And I started noticing posts and other things, and started looking more casual.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want people in there with tank tops and stuff like that. You still a classy joint.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not the black tie affair that it used to be.
Well, it's hard for me to speak on dressing up at all, because I mean, it doesn't matter where I go to the finest restaurants that I've ever been to, and I still, it's a button-up shirt and jeans, and that's about as dressed up as I get,
Well,
And
you're a country boy.
Yeah, and I think, like, even though that I go to some of these finer restaurants like Roosters or any other place in town that has really good food, I don't think that you need to dress up. I mean, I'm comfortable going in a t-shirt and jeans, or shorts and flip-flops sometimes, and people look at you like, but that's how I go out.
And you know what? You're doing the same thing as the people that are cooking your food
Exactly.
does. And you just want to be comfortable.
That's it. I want to eat good food.
Yeah, and
I
you
want to
spend all
drink
week
good
doing
wine.
that.
Yeah.
I had I don't want to go into a big talk about other places that we've had, but Bernardin's.
Yeah.
The first time that I'd ever been there at this location, I'd gone there one time about 10 years ago when they were over on Jonestown Road. Totally different experience, and the date I was with was awful, so I don't even consider that as really going. But neither my wife Stephanie nor I had been there, and I didn't know what how to dress going there. I know the server who ended up serving us, and I sent her a text and said, "Hey, what's the dress?" She goes, "Just business casual," which I think is the norm anymore. Even fine dining restaurants, unless it's a special occasion, no one's expecting you to go in with a jacket and a tie.
They're not going to turn you away.
Yeah, no, because they need money.
That's it.
Yeah, so I the whole point of that was, it's all coming back to comfort and good food.
That's it.
And speaking of good food, you and one of my really good buddies, Travis, are pals, and you both do a lot of the local sourcing and stuff like that. So we know the food is really, really good, and I commend you on the fact that you do that. Talked with Michael Hastings a couple of weeks back on the show, and he was talking about, he made a point, stuff that's grown and or processed, meaning, slaughtered, killed, whatever, that is 5 to 20 miles away, is always going to taste better than something that had to come across the country on a frozen truck.
100%.
You can taste the difference. You can, the texture of the food is different because it's not having to last as long, because you can use it faster. It's eating the stuff that we're used to because it's here. And it's just, and beyond the meat part of it, or the animal part of it, we have the growers, Fair Share Farms and Harmony Ridge, and all these people that are doing some fantastic things with their food. That I just love that it's here.
I know. It makes my job a lot easier, when you don't have to go out. And, it took a while when like I said, I've been there for 5 years. And when I first got here, introducing yourself to all these different farmers and guys that do meat and produce, building those relationships were, not very hard. It's hard to reach out and collect all these people and bring them all together. But working with them has been the easiest by far. It's easier than working with any purveyor from U.S. Foods or Southern Foods or Cisco. If they have something, they're going to let you know. If they don't have it, they're going to let you know, and it's going to be on point. And if it isn't, they're not going to send it to you. They're not going to say, "Well, this is what I got. Sorry." You're going to get that through a truck in a box that you're going to open it up and be like, this is crap.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
is this like that? And then you're not going to get that from these guys because they just picked it, washed it, put it in a bag, and gave it to you. If it looks like crap, you're going to say something to them right away.
Sure.
So, it's a great thanks to those guys that do such an awesome job. Elliot and everybody with Fair Share and Isaac with Harmony Ridge Farms. They're one of our two biggest guys that have really kept us through the season, because winter is so hard on chefs and trying to source local produce. Like, everybody has the same 10 items: sweet potatoes, kale, collards, those kinds of things. And these guys are doing some different things to sort of have better produce throughout the whole year. Elliot just got some new greenhouses, which are really cool. Next year he's going to extend his mixed green shelf life, probably hopefully through the winter, which would be awesome because Elliot has the best mixed greens, I think, by far.
And I love that, this is a relatively new thing to me. I guess it's I won't say it's a fad, but it's a new thing. Is microgreens. Yeah. And I love those. And the joke about me always was, plants are what my food eats. Yeah. But there's something about there are things that Tony DeLisio, what you use, what Travis uses, Tim, Mark Groman, all you guys use the microgreens and stuff, and there's so much for so little a thing. Yeah. There's so much punch to that. Yeah. There's texture, there's brightness, there's earthiness, there's flavor. And what I would, as everything's 10 years ago, because that's when I really started getting serious about trying to do food. I wouldn't have. It would have just been garnish. Yeah. But now, who was it I was having a discussion with? I think it was Mark Groman. Said, or maybe Travis, one of the two. But it was, if it's on my plate, it should be edible. Exactly. I don't want art on my plate unless I'm eating sushi or a big piece of rosemary or a huge thyme sprig. That, if you chew on it, it'd be the woodiest thing you ever have. Absolutely, and you don't want that. Yeah. But if it, like parsley. Yeah, I used to, because I grew up eating that. I'm from West Virginia originally, so they had crappy Shoney's was our fine dining, and the food would come with parsley on the side of it, and I wouldn't eat it because I was like, it's just crap, because it always was. Yeah, but now I'll eat parsley. Yeah, because it tastes good and it's good for your breath and a lot of health benefits to it because it's green. My wife loves that I eat anything that's green, as long as it's not mold. And even that's okay in cheese. Yes, but I really am so glad you guys are on the local train and the work that you're doing, the art that you're making. It's amazing. I mean, we're lucky. I think all of us have found and built really good teams behind us that are helping us do these jobs. And I couldn't do it without my sous chef and all the chefs that I got working with me. And I don't think Travis the same or anybody could do anything that we're doing without those guys. So it's a great appreciation that we got people that are willing to learn and we're really learning to progress. And so with us, we have our staples on the menu, like the oyster salad and a couple other things, but besides that, there's nothing really left, or rotisserie chicken and barbecue pork that is a staple on Noble's menu, except for tomato soup. And then everything else we get to play with. So all the guys that are a part of my team, I encourage them to say, hey, what are you learning? What are you researching? What are you doing? And they take that to the next level. And we really have a lot of fun, putting those kinds of things together. It's a team. It is. And, being able to utilize, Harmony Ridge and their products where you don't really have to do too much to it. I mean, like you said, it's got so much great flavor already because of, the soils that they have
over the years produced that is, making these intensely flavored vegetables are awesome. Once the soil's dead and there's no more nutrients in the ground, your vegetables start to taste like nothing, and then that's what you get in a box from Southern Foods. And so we're lucky to have
not
the farmers.
That there's anything wrong with that.
No,
Southern Foods and U.S.
There's
Foods
nothing,
and all that,
because we need those to get us through the winter as well. But if there was something else we could produce year round that we could create besides sweet potatoes and kale and collard greens.
So thank you to Elliot and
that's it.
So all right. So if John Bobby is not working right now, he's going to go eat. So if you're going to go eat, what are you going to eat? What's your favorite food?
I mean, I talked to a lot of chefs around here, and there's a few places I like to go. I'm sad that one of those is no longer going to be with us in a week or so. Yeah. So that's probably my mission today, is to get off and go eat there at the Honey Pot. And then, besides that, I've been over to Mark's place before, and, I try to visit my friends that, I get the chance to go eat at. If I'm not eating at their restaurants, I go to any wonderful taco place. Any wonderful place I can get a great bowl of pho, and I can't find that in Winston. I go to Greensboro for that kind of stuff. There's a lot of good taco places in Winston and Kernersville, but like pho is something that I'm very picky about what makes it perfect, and there's a few places that just do everything on point. So let's see. There is one, Thai Swanee off of Healy Drive is probably the most consistent one I've had here in Winston. And then in Greensboro, you have we shop at Super G Mart quite a bit. And get a lot of Asian ingredients there. There's a noodle place right inside that, a restaurant right in there that does a phenomenal spicy pho that I had yesterday that made me sweat beyond belief. It was really good.
So I don't know that I've ever had it. Because the place that has it in their name here downtown. I've not had it there. I don't eat there a lot. And there's a place down 150 that used to be our favorite sushi place, and I know that it has it on the menu, but I've never had it there either.
And I mean, we tried some places downtown. We, thought, it may be good, and it was just okay. And there's something about it's particular, it's got to have that floral spice to it. It's got to be very aromatic, and has some viscosity to it, and not just be a broth. So there's some people that do it right. Van Loy in Greensboro, they do it really well. There's another place that does a really great broth, but then they serve it with lemons, which I don't understand. Lemons and pho. It should be lime and cilantro, basil, and bean sprouts, but and then they serve it with lemon. So I don't go to that place anymore. I'm like, why can't I get a lime with my pho?
I don't like this. I'm not going to go back. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh man. I mean, the whole reason I came on to work with Jim Noble was, because he was doing some cured meats at one point in time. And, I worked at a place called the Ravenous Pig in Orlando, and that was my introduction to utilization of whole animals and utilizing local farms. And when you're able to take something and utilize 100% of it, then you've done your job correctly. So if it comes from, making sure that you make enough stocks out of the bones, sausages out of whatever odds and ends you can, and then make head cheeses and all kinds of other stuff with all the extras that come along with it. and then you're able to serve it and it tastes so good and people love it, then you've done your job correctly. And so cured meats was one of my favorite things that I ever got into, and was doing that for about 6 years, so making whole hams, speck, all kinds of different salamis and stuff. They all, once you're doing it for so long, you start to get it to where it's right on point.
Sure.
And then we had to stop doing those because of the way the health department changed their procedures and learning how things are going on. So we haven't done it in quite a few years now, and so it's something I miss. And we're slowly working on getting our variances for the health department, but we can't do it again until it's right. So right now all we can do is we still get in whole animals, but we only do cooked sausages and whole muscle. So I can do hams and stuff like that are boiled. Right. Or cured necks or stuff like that are not cured for a long time, but it's like an overnight brine cure and then cooked. So sure. Those kinds of things are what I really enjoy. That pastas, I think pastas are such a great utilization of different parts. You could take sausage and make a beautiful pasta, sure, with some fennel and lemon. But like the eggs that you get them from, I think there's so many egg farmers out there, and there's one that does it better than anybody. Again, this is Charles Taft from Stauber Farms, and everybody will argue and say that somebody else has better eggs and somebody else has better eggs, and there's nobody that I've found that has the most vibrant neon color egg yolks than what he's producing.
Right.
And it shows in your pasta. You can see it, and we have
because you want your pasta to have a brilliant color.
Yeah.
And not just drab.
Yeah.
That I just found out a few years back that's actually a color, not just a style.
Oh, really?
It's drab, but drab is a tan kind of color.
Oh.
And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'll use that in references from now on.
Yeah, so you want it to be not tan, you want it to be yellow.
Yeah, like his comes out neon when you're working with it. If we're doing a tagliatelle or something that it focuses on the pasta being that color, then we make it that color. And if we don't have, if we get eggs from other local farms, it's still not is a great quality product, but we'll sometimes add so we'll take vegetable stems, beet stems, kale stems, mustard green stems, and we'll cook those until they're dry, and then we'll powder them, and then we'll fold those into pasta dough so that you get that flavor, and it changes the color anyway, so
sure,
that you're not really if you did get served their eggs in a pasta, it wouldn't be drab.
Right, yeah. So it would, you're at that point you're just being inventive.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not cheating. Yeah. It's changing everything.
And you base the dish around the flavor on that pasta, and then you're utilizing 100% of, because a lot of people, they'll get the beets and they'll use the bulbs, or then they'll use the greens and discard the stems, and anything that you can save from going in the trash can is not only going to help you money-wise and
keep your food costs down, which
but
it saves on the consumer as well.
Yeah, and it's a great way to be inventive, thinking outside the box and learning from all these chefs that have been doing it for so long, and you're like, wow, why are we not doing this? And then when you are doing it, then you're continuing to learn from great techniques of doing that.
And when you're able to be inventive, then you're like a songwriter writing a song, or an artist drawing a picture or painting a painting. You get to express yourself.
Yeah.
And that A, keeps the boredom down, and two, just is an expression of yourself.
That's it.
Is there any ingredients that you don't like, even for yourself? Because I'm not a fan of onions, and there's always been a back and forth with Michael Hastings and myself about onions. Although I have started to incorporate some onions in what I fix, I still don't like onions. Yeah. I like onion flavor, but I don't like onion texture.
Exactly.
I don't care if
I agree with you.
I don't care if they're fried or
Yeah.
grilled or any of that stuff. I'm not a fan.
I like onions every way but raw, just because they don't like me when they're raw.
Yeah.
But I do like the crunch and whatever. But it's the after, it's like eating a lot of raw garlic. If I eat a lot of raw onions, it's just like I'm on fire. So, but I like raw onions in like a menudo or some, pozole or some kind of Spanish dish where you chunk a lot of raw onions and cilantro in there, and it gives that dish texture because it's so creamy, and then you have that in there to sort of balance it out. White pepper was one of my, I don't like for a long time, but it grew on me. So, there's certain aspects that I'll put it into. A lot of salami recipes that call for white pepper. People will put white pepper in mashed potatoes or whatever, so you don't see it. I say, no pepper. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not doing any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I in the same family, even though it's not exactly the same as shallots.
Yeah.
We made a taco, a pork taco that we made our own peach salsa, and we put shallots and a half a shallot in there, and it's still, I'm like, well, I can taste it, and it doesn't taste as bad.
Yeah.
But I could smell the onions on me the next day. I mean, it's like I was sweating it. And I'm like, it's another reason I can still taste it, and I could still smell it on me. That's what I don't know. It's not worth it. And asparagus, I will fight someone over that. Do not make me eat that. I can't live with myself for 2 or 3 days afterwards.
Oh, really?
But it's just, it's never tasted great to me anyway. So why am I going to do that to myself with something? If it was something I love the taste of, I would live with that. But I don't like either one.
You like raw asparagus?
No.
No? Okay. Because I don't like asparagus when they're mush, and then their texture just goes south, But if it's raw or, just barely cooked, it's got a crunch to it. But once you overcook those things and they get slimy, and they're no good.
I used to not like Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
But I like them now.
Yeah.
Especially if they're really buttery.
Oh yeah. Ours has lots of bacon in it, so they're cooked in bacon fat, and then lots of sherry and diced bacon, and then we finish it with almonds and honey. So it comes out pretty good.
Now I gotta come over there again
and have some Brussels sprouts.
sprouts. Well, anything else going on you need anybody to know about?
Whoever has been a part of Nobles and helping us grow for the past 25 years, I just want to say thank you. And whoever continues to support us and what we do, we're going to keep pushing the envelope food-wise and service-wise. And if anything, that we're missing on, let us know, because I think that's a big thing with growing companies and companies that have been around forever is communication. It's what kills a company inside the company, but then also, if the guests don't let people know, like, hey, something's missing here and something's wrong, then you'll never know about it. So
and then they start telling their friends that they didn't like the experience.
Yeah, we love feedback. We love, we talk about it. We do it all, I think every restaurant here does a staff lineup, and I think ours is something that has progressed to something that is very good for our company. It's a full staff lineup. We get front of the house, back of the house, all the managers every day, and we sit down and we talk about the menu, we talk about service, we talk about things that happened the day before, if there was a mistake, because restaurants, we make mistakes. It's not uncommon. We feel so bad about them too. It's like, something we prep all day for, things that we organize for, and then all of a sudden something falls out of that out of place, and a mistake happens, and every chef feels like, oh god, that was the worst thing ever. Because
it's your reputation, and it's your pride, and it's your art. Again, I am very adamant about it, and especially if I know you, it's easier for me to go and say, John, I really didn't like this right here. I said, but when I do that, I try to say, I wish it had more of this, or I wish it had less of this. Instead of, because I don't want to criticize, I critique. That's my job as a food writer, as a food critic, if you will. I don't like being called a food critic, but I do. but I try to be constructive or just state my preferences. Now, if I'm writing a review, if it's something that, like, if I know I don't like onions, but it had onions on it, I'm not going to trash it because it had onions on it. That's not my job. I have to take it as to what it is as itself, as the whole thing. If I know it has onions on it, when I order it, I will ask for that not to be there.
Yeah.
If possible. I know some things are already in there, but the point is, feedback is best when it's feedback, not a lambasting.
Don't. I mean, we have comment cards. A lot of restaurants do, ask for them if you have a bad experience, and
or if you have a good
one. Or a good one, or a good one, or just don't leave and then blast us on social media, and or Yelp or all these things that we had no idea about your experiences. You didn't say anything, and if you did, we did our best to try to fix it, and that's all we can do. So the more feedback we get, it's always positive. Besides that, I think no, we got nothing really else going on news, so we're just gonna keep pushing like we always do.
Well, happy 25th anniversary to Roosters and Noble Brew.
And Jim Noble, thank you very much.
And John, thank you so much for being here with me. John Bobby of Roosters Noble Brew.
Thank you, Tim.
The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, and Sipping NC, The Art of Drinking. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our brand new website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You will find social media info and mini bios on each show in that one-stop shop. I'd greatly appreciate also if you visited my sponsor, Washington Park and Provision Company, 2 locations, 228 West Acadia Avenue in Washington Park in Winston-Salem, and 301 West 4th Street in downtown Winston-Salem. They have Wolfie's Custard, Larry's Beans Coffee, eggs, milk, and cheese from Homeland Creamery, condiments, bread, beer and wine. Perk has everything you need. It's not quite a grocery store, but better than a convenience store. 2 locations again, 228 West Acadia Avenue, 301 West 4th Street. On the web, thewashingtonperk.com. All right, keep an eye on my blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send me an email to tim@themanwhoatethetown.com or on our Facebook page or Twitter page. I want to thank once again Chef John Bobby for stopping by and talking with me for a bit. My name is Tim, and I'm closing the recipe box now. Until next time, thank you for reading and thank you for listening. Sláinte. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the Man Who Ate the Town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.